is a Cosmic Octave original podcast.
Me and Jake running down the street with a handful of comic books, kicking ass and banging chicks and drinking booze
No, not
and
me.
smoking
Not
weed.
me. I'm married.
Yeah, well,
I'm married.
Jake.
Can't do that.
Yeah. Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
Episode
It's
179.
time for the indubitable voices of Jake Williams and Tyler Allen on Off Panel Off Topic, the best podcast here in hell.
Is that the? I was gonna say, is that the? Oh, we're in hell. Right.
No, that's them doing a promo. We're not in hell. That's them.
We're the
doing a
number
promo.
one podcast in hell.
Yeah, but that's them doing a promo for us.
It's unfortunate.
Best part is we don't have to pay him.
'Cause he's dead.
All we do is send down a case of bottled water.
He did say the show
Promptly gets stolen by Satan for his own nefarious.
He did say the show blows his mind. So
and he's seen some shit.
he would be the expert.
Wow.
I'm so sorry.
I was going another way, but that's cool.
What? Is it too soon to make those jokes?
No, Bill Hicks' best joke was what's with all the crosses? You think if Jesus Christ ever comes back, he wants to see a fucking cross? It's like going up to Jackie Onassis with a little rifle pendant. Yeah, like, hey, just thinking of John, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no.
Yeah.
It's not too soon.
Well,
we're not making light of it.
Nope, never mind. I was going to go even darker of a joke.
It's not.
I was going to say they're mostly dead anyway. So
Off
it's
panel,
fine.
off topic.
Number
number one podcast in hell, according to JFK.
Oh, fuck the Kennedys, man. I'll
Yeah,
say it.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
Sure.
Anyway.
Although JFK is some of Kevin Costner's and Oliver Stone's finest
Well, I'm
work.
sorry. I don't believe in American dynasties. I just don't. But
No, JFK is actually really, really good. It's about the plot to
the
the
Oliver Stone
Yeah.
presidential biopic? I don't know.
No, it's
Is it
not.
better than W?
You don't even know what JFK is?
I've
It's
never
about
watched
the guy the only man who brought a case against somebody for the murder of John F. Kennedy.
Oh, I never watched it. So I don't
You
know.
should, dude. It's watch. Here's what I'll say. Watch the extended cut, which has all the extra shit, and Donald Sutherland's part right in the middle. Blow your fucking mind, dude. Now, it should be noted that most of the sources that he used for that movie
Yeah.
have either been aren't reliable or been discredited.
So when does a plane come into the picture?
What?
Is it shot at the airport? It's JFK. I wish we were on video
You're
because
reaching real hard, and you don't have to. You're funny. You're a funny guy.
funny how? Funny
Oh, I
how?
fucking amuse you?
I'm a clown.
I'm a fucking clown.
What are we doing
What
with
are
our
we
life?
doing?
Dude, we're fucking loaded for bear.
Loaded for bear. We got a fucking show.
We're talking about
take
Dune.
The tap off.
We're talking about Dune.
Wow, we're getting really excited.
I mean, you could talk about Skeleton. I have yet to watch Skeleton Crew. You can talk about that.
What a
Creature Commandos, and then we got comic book. Comic book?
we have
Absolute Superman.
Absolute Superman number 2, and I have a long box. Do you have a long box?
Yeah.
I have a long box that's a comic.
Well, shit.
Well, fuck.
My long box is a video game, so you'll check out.
Do you have the theme song?
Well, you're so.
While you look that up, I'll give you a little rundown here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to do the What's in My Mouth, with a new type of Doritos. And then we're going to do a quick run through about the Simpsons game last night because that was a lot of fun, and we'll kind of get
Elevator
our thoughts,
music.
get that out of the way. And then we're going to jump right into Dune Prophecy, and then I'll kind of take us. Why do you keep throwing that? And then I'll get you a little bit of talk a little bit about Skeleton Crew, not too much.
Shit. Wow. Bumped the table.
And then we'll talk. Absolute Superman number 2.
No, we won't.
And then we're gonna do our long box.
Fuck.
Jesus Christ, dude! You're falling
Even
apart.
have the board
at
hooked
the It's totally cool. I'm
No, it's not okay, man.
vamping while you're.
You can't.
If you had just done this stuff without saying anything, the fucking audience wouldn't even know anything was wrong. But no, you had to be like, fuck, shit, in the background. That's my job. I'm the one who does that, man. What are you looking for? Oh.
I'll eat your ass.
Oh, wow. Cool. That is exciting. Good to know.
Come on, Cohagen.
What is... Do you not know what it's called? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, I had a brain fart.
Good old-
Let me cough and gurgle into the mic.
You are just losing your fucking mind tonight.
I'm going to bed. Yeah.
First thing I'd like to
Tastes like a butthole.
First thing I'd like to notate is that this fucking regular bag of Doritos is regularly labeled as $6.29, which a year ago literally it was $4.
So there you go. Inflation.
Gee, you think maybe somebody made that whole thing happen in the fucking Strait of Hormuz? Gee, maybe?
It could be also that PepsiCo.
Gee, do you think maybe there's a whole like
Is an
conglomerate
evil
running
corporation.
this shit that's like, hey, if we're shutting everything down with COVID and then we have a fucking supply chain problem, oh boy! Wow! Yeah! Money!
That's the sound of CEOs everywhere coming.
coming in their fucking pants.
Wow, the
Their
music dropped
poor
out perfectly.
maids have to clean it out of their shorts. Get
Hey,
dog drooling
I
on
think
me.
the message was sent though recently to CEOs about prices. Anyway, open your bag.
Oh, that's a little
I-
farther than I was.
Hey,
Doritos, late night sizzling cheeseburger. Late night flavors, one bold crunch. Taste the night. What
Taste the
fuck
night?
does that mean?
yeah,
You
Taste
want me
the
to-
Night has a weird
Yeah.
thing in my head. If I'm tasting the night,
So-
it's regret.
So what are we hoping for? Are we hoping for to have a
A
chip
cheeseburger.
that just tastes like a cheeseburger?
Yeah,
Right?
that's all I'm asking. When I buy a bag that
We ain't
says
getting fancy.
cheeseburger,
We're talking food truck. We're talking, Burger King cheeseburger,
fuck Burger King. Never mind.
Tastes exactly like a fucking cheeseburger.
Tastes like a Burger King cheeseburger.
It does. I was just saying like a cheap cheeseburger.
Yeah, it's a Burger
Which
King.
actually, if you go to Burger King these days, a cheeseburger is like $2.79
Goddamn! Inflation's hitting us all.
Except for the rich.
That's delicious.
Really good.
I'll eat your ass.
That's what I say.
I'll give it the second one, the lower one.
You know what I say to that?
Boring!
But it's this. Nice.
Here's why.
Jesus H.
I really like them.
Sorry, my dog keeps walking and it's scaring me because he's gonna step on the cable.
Well, he wants the chips.
Well, yeah, doesn't everybody? We're Dorito. You'll eat it.
The reason why I'm not giving it I'll eat your ass
How could you?
is because I don't want to sit and eat a whole bag of these.
Oh, I would.
I know you would.
But I love cheeseburgers, so
So do I, but I don't want to just eat a bunch of chips that taste like a cheeseburger.
I want to eat a cheeseburger and have those chips so I get double cheeseburger flavor in my mouth. That's what I want.
All up in you?
All up in me. I want it inside me.
Wow.
In my belly, you pervert.
Again, it tastes exactly like a fucking Burger King cheeseburger, no shit.
Oh, it really does. It tastes like a little Whopper Jr.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, no, it literally tastes like meat, bun, ketchup, mustard, cheese.
I think you were describing a cheeseburger. Well, it does.
Meat, bun.
Maybe got a little pickle in there, you know?
Maybe, maybe not. Maybe fuck yourself. I can't believe I have to do it for you.
It's not on here.
What?
I got a new phone a while back, and I had to do.
You
We
fucking.
haven't been using drops that much.
You fucking guy.
What?
Well, there goes He's fine. It's fine. I don't hear it. What?
You don't hear nothing because
Did he?
you are
did he-
not plugged into the same thing that No, I'm kidding. It's fine. It's just very finicky, the cables. If you bump them in the slightest way, it fudges up the whole recording. If you're a long-time listener to this show, you know what I'm talking about. Because I've yet to fix the issue. Because I'm a lazy sack of shit.
Yeah, you are.
And I'm
you
sitting
fuck.
around on my ass
Sitting around on my ass.
watching Dune.
Watching Dune Prophecy.
I mean, if you want
There's
to,
a new episode this week.
you could talk about the Simpsons thing if you want.
Oh yeah, let's.
Well, I thought we were gonna do it in the back end.
No,
but
let's get it out of the way. I think it was last year that they first had the was it the Toy Story game, and I watched that over here, didn't I? It was a Jaguars and
Yeah.
Falcons.
there's a London game.
Yeah, and it was really fun because it was interesting.
It's motion tracking, so there's all the player, and I've heard of this technology before. So there's been a lot of advancements in AI with sports. So there's AI cameras now that are designed to follow the ball, which I think explains why, if you've ever watched a football game, why sometimes, or if you've ever watched any like game film on Huddle or like anything like that, you'll notice it will struggle for a second before it resets itself to find the football. So it's taken that technology, but almost like having it be wearable, because I've heard of this tech, and so they wear these sensors under their pads that are tracked. And that's how they make the models, the avatar models in Springfield from the players. It's really interesting technology.
One thing that I want to know is that there had to have been some sort of delay. Because
There was.
every time there was a big play, one of the characters came in. Did you notice that?
Yes. So
But how much of a delay?
It was
did
like
they
on
have?
a 2-play delay, I think.
Okay.
Because that's why they did that whole Millhouse fumbling the football bit, because they had talked about it earlier.
Right. Here's what was funny is that I had paused it, so I was like, I think I had like 6 minutes left in the first quarter, and I turned on my ESPN app, and it was like 3 minutes left in the actual game on ESPN.
Yeah.
Now that was mainly because I had been pausing it a lot, the Simpsons episode, so I didn't know. I didn't realize there was a delay until I kept watching. I'm like, I noticed that every time something really cool happens, like there's a player or there's a character involved. Like, Whoa, Homer!
So the
came
first
in, threw a
touchdown, Homer throws a touchdown pass, or like a big play. Oh, it's the footwork from Lisa. Or
the funny thing is,
Bart chooses Ralph. Like, so they were intentionally behind.
I had Burrow
to do that.
I had Burrow, Chase Brown, and Jamar Chase. So, of course, all game, I'm like, well, which guy was it? Like, I could tell.
That's funny, but which
probably
character
Brown.
is? Yeah.
It's probably, but it was, I thought, all three guys did, all three people did a great job.
By the
Mina
way,
Kimes slayed it on the fucking references, dude.
Which, by the way,
It separates us from the animals, except for the weasel.
I will say this. They didn't do any of the shit that they did for this. They did not do in that Toy Story one.
Mm-mm.
Because that was, let's just figure out if we can actually do a full game of this shit, and then we'll get crazier.
This was the same thing, but you added in Simpsons.
But they intentionally
characters
delayed
and
their
stuff.
broadcast to be behind so they could sub in Simpsons characters to score the touchdowns.
Which is smart.
But I think the broader conversation for this has to be how it excites me and interests me, because culture and sports have always been intertwined, especially in American culture, and it's everywhere. But especially with pop culture, sports have been ingrained in American culture, and football, the NFL. You can't get more fucking American than the MLB or the NFL, right? And it interests me in what we're gonna see this technology do,
Right.
in a sense of how we're going to keep blending narrative and reality. Because it's an interesting idea that we're taking a live sports event, and they've already experimented with it over at Paramount with Nickelodeon, and I cannot stress enough how fucking smart it is.
Yeah.
Incredibly smart.
Well,
because
you're cross-marketing.
whoever was in charge, who says, hey guys, we have broadcasting deals, exclusive deals with one of the biggest fucking companies in the world, Disney. Tons of families watch this sport. How are you going to get kids invested?
We have all these IP that kids love.
Let's do this. And Nickelodeon already did it because they had the Slime Zone and all the other shit. And then let's keep doing it.
As long as it's not the primary broadcast.
No, it never will be.
Right.
It will never
and
be.
I can't see it being that way.
And but it makes sense to put it on Disney Plus or ESPN Plus.
Here's the thing.
So it makes total sense.
Here's the thing. I can't watch ESPN content on my smart TV. I can't because I have to have a cable provider, right? Now, if I'm inside on my Wi-Fi,
Unless you have ESPN Plus.
I do.
But yeah, not every game is on ESPN Plus.
I'm
right.
saying, like, when I go to ESPN Plus to watch anything live on my fucking smart TV, it's like, who's your cable provider? It's the dumbest fucking thing. Paramount doesn't do that. Peacock doesn't do that. Nobody else does that.
Yeah.
It's fucking stupid.
It's incredibly smart to blend this. And
anyway.
Yeah.
So this was cool because, I got to watch the game in a weird way. And I couldn't turn it off. I kept wanting to like fast forward and stuff, but then I'd stop it after fast forwarding it through a commercial. And there weren't a lot of commercials. There were some great trivias during the commercial breaks. It was really not a lot of commercials because it was, their own broadcast. They're already making money off of,
Yeah, they don't really care about the advertising because they're going to get that every other avenue.
It reminded me of a couple things, how great The Simpsons are. When I was growing up,
yeah,
I loved The Simpsons. Look, I remember when there was no Fox. It was ABC, CBS, and NBC. And then Fox came around, and they had a few good shows. Tracy Ullman's show was one of them. And I remember I liked that show because I liked Tracy Ullman. We would always watch that on Sunday, me and my family. Simpsons happened to be on there. Now, he wrote a bunch of books, Matt Groening, called Life in Hell. It's a Life in Hell series. And originally, The Simpsons were going to be based off Bongo, who's a rabbit with one ear, a kid rabbit with one ear, and his family, okay? And a lot of the animations and stuff, a lot of the character designs are based off of these characters, these rabbit characters that they made The Simpsons.
Yeah.
And The Simpsons is based off of Matt Groening's own family, whatever. And if you watch the shorts, which you can find them probably on Disney Plus or anywhere, watch the shorts that appeared on Tracy Ullman's show. I remember after like a couple of episodes, I was watching Tracy Ullman, not to watch Tracy Ullman, but to see if they'd have a Simpsons short on.
Yeah, and then somebody was like, we should
make a show, right?
They could probably saw that data of like, this is a spike.
I bought a bootleg fucking Bart Simpson shirt when I was in junior high, man. Fuck yeah, dude. I fucking totally did, man. And like,
yeah,
I grew up through this whole thing, and you told me on the phone, you said that apparently it's been better lately because they've gotten new writers. I don't know. I should check it out.
I haven't been watching it, but that's what I've
heard.
But
we were also talking like, unless they have a database of every episode ever, it's like that South Park episode Simpsons did it, which is a great fucking episode. Because at the end of it, everybody turns into the Simpsons.
Well, it's the same. It's the whole fun of like
Simpsons did it.
And at some point, you're just gonna end up. You go long enough, you're gonna rip yourself off. You're gonna rip everybody off. It's just parallel thinking is just was gonna happen.
Exactly.
But anyway,
but I enjoyed
to kind of put a bow in that of all of it. To me, it's an exciting idea of what. Not only that, but I'm also talking about what we could do with sports movies, what we could do with sports video games, and like if we can map the tech like this for a live football game, and they've done it twice. Now it has its glitches.
I hate that it's AI powered, but what are you?
It's gonna do that. It's gonna happen. And here's the thing:
there are times, with a long snapper, looks like he's fucking.
As long as AI does not directly impact art or directly take away jobs, I'm okay with it. I think.
Yeah, if it enhances something, cool.
Like technology.
The problem is that it is already taking jobs from artists.
Sure, but what I'm trying to get at, AI has its place, and my thing is,
sure,
especially in this kind of technology, I think it's going to be really interesting what we can do, not even just with doing things like these special events like this, but also what sports movies will be, what sports entertainment. So not wrestling, but just what they can do narratively with that, and again, what we could do with video games and how that's going to change motion capture.
This is a great segue into Dune Prophecy, and here's why.
Thinking machines, because AI.
Very, very good. That's not where I was going, but very good. Yeah. What I was going where is, remember when Secret Invasion came out and it was uproar because AI created the entire opening sequence? Yeah. How the fuck do we know that we're not watching every show we're watching has an AI created opening sequence? How do we know that?
I don't know anymore.
They don't really need
That's-
to
yeah, well,
announce
I mean,
it,
they
and
had
why
a-
would they?
They had a whole strike about it.
Right?
That's why they. I mean, yeah, that's why they had the strike.
But I'm saying, like, I mean, did they get something that said that they can't make AI generated opening sequences, or what do you know what I mean?
I thought there was something that if AI is used in any way, it has to be disclosed. Like they have to say it. I'm pretty sure. Or there's some sort of thing in the negotiations that, like, okay, if you're gonna fucking use
Hopefully.
AI, you better
You have to tell
say
people.
It.
Cool. Okay. Cool.
And,
So never mind then.
That's
'Cause
but that's already existing, like on things on like YouTube. Where
That's what I was
YouTube
thinking
will
about.
say, like,
Yeah.
is this altered content?
Yeah.
Is this AI? You know.
Well, the other thing was when I skipped the intro because it's long. and I don't
Yeah, it's
fucking
like
care.
goddamn. I will tell you this: HBO loves their long fucking intros. They just do. They always have.
But the first couple times I watched it, I was like, hey, So anyway,
makes you wonder.
but moving into Dune, which this episode
Thoughts. Already, I have some predictions.
this episode was great
know why I said thoughts.
in the respect that it built so many differing storylines into one gigantic climax towards the end in the Senate chambers or the Lions Round.
Wild, man. Brutal.
I
mean,
I thought
okay,
it was a great episode.
Let's think about it this way: it's brutal enough to watch a scene where a character gets burnt alive,
But a bunch of them-
and to see like their like there's clothes and the flesh coming on. I'm like, Jesus, man.
One thing, we clearly, I didn't get the timeline right. The sword master is the son of the guy who survived the Atreides massacre.
Oh,
He's Albert, who she was like, go, and he survived. Remember?
yeah.
That's his dad.
Okay.
Because he says at one point, my father survived a mass atrocity.
And he was the one who's just
God, he's sexy, isn't he?
He is.
Just a sexy Irish
Everybody's
dude.
hot in this show.
Did we get a sexy? We didn't.
First episode. we
3
didn't
for
get
4. Okay, so we're first time.
one. Hey, we're at the halfway point. There's still 4 more episodes. And I'm just saying,
how do you know that 5 isn't gonna have like 4?
That's what I mean. Like each episode now is gonna have like it's just gonna be like a full on fucking orgy at the end of it.
Here you go, you fucks.
There was worms and elbows and buttholes. It was crazy.
Yes.
Speaking of worms, okay, so they all have this collective nightmare, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Tula she does this practice where she's like she kind of sets them all into a trance, right? So they all have. She could do it separately, but she wants to get. If we all had this dream, I want to see this. So they all.
It's a fair idea.
It's a good idea.
First of all, before we continue
Yeah.
into this, because I know where you're going,
I just want to lay out my predictions.
go for it. But why the fuck? I've worked with charcoal before. Why the fuck are their hands not just fucking stained, dude? Charcoal is really messy. And if you're drawing with it like that, come on.
Come on.
Come on.
So they make what we believe to be Shai-Hulud, the sandworm. I think they were having a nightmare because they were figuring out about the golden path. I don't think it's Shai-Hulud. I think it's Leto 2. Because I think what this is going to... So I keep saying I think. Originally, I had the idea of, this is designed to just kind of map out the world of Dune, keep people interested in the IP while we get ready for Denis Villeneuve to come back and do Messiah. I think it is still doing that, but I definitely 100% think it has dual purpose. Because originally I just thought it was like, okay, we're just going to keep people invested in this, while that other movie comes out. But no, I think this is going to directly connect to Messiah, and this is setting up Messiah, and they're seeing Leto too, and they're seeing the Golden Path, and that's why everybody's having like a big hysteria about it, because they're seeing, this happen. So that's my big prediction.
The only reason I would say you're wrong, no, I like the prediction because I am stumped, and the only reason I say that I don't think it's that is because this seems like what they're afraid of is imminent.
Oh, so it isn't as late as...
Doesn't it? Doesn't it feel like it's imminent and not like thousands of years in the future?
And Leto, too, doesn't even become he progresses into a worm, right?
Yeah.
So it's that, even then, that takes hundreds of years, is what I'm getting at. So like, yeah, I think that you might be right. It's a little bit sooner than that.
The jump between the end of Children of Dune and God Emperor of Dune is like 4,000 years.
Yeah.
It jumps from there to the end of Leto II's rule, or towards the end of it.
Yeah, so I mean, it wouldn't even be setting up Messiah per se. I mean, it would just be referencing Leto 2, who is in Messiah, and he begins the Golden Path, but he doesn't really become the worm in Messiah, right? It's Children of Dune?
Children of Dune is when he puts all the sand trout on himself.
He says, I'm going to go on the Golden Path. I'm going to do what my father couldn't do. Blah, 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 blah. Can't wait for people to watch Dune Messiah and be real disappointed what happens to Paul and be like, he tried to tell you. Herbert tried. And that's what I love about Dune more than anything, lore-wise. I love that every one of these motherfuckers are scheming and lying, and there's no black and white. There's gray, constant. And you see it more and more each episode, and everybody kind of has their own agenda. Even Tula with Lila going to that level of like where we get what happens with her, of like,
oh, and she's got fucking thinking
Protocol
machine technology.
Protocol would have had
Big
her
no.
dead. I feel like days.
Well, she
ago.
has a dream where they find her and they try to kill her, and
Right.
that's exactly what would happen.
Isn't who's Emmeline is. She has the nightmare of suicide, right? Or like she kills her. She has the nightmare that she kills herself.
Yeah, but she almost
She almost kills herself. Yes. Yeah, but Tula. I will say Tula and Valia have very, very interesting arcs because you can tell they're sisters and they relied and grew up with each other because
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 the fact that they're separated is hurting them.
And, yes, and in different ways they fall into their own prideful traps.
Yep.
And Tula really couldn't live with the fact that she possibly killed this girl.
How about Valia just letting her uncle die?
And then Valia's scene with her uncle. This is another thing I love about this show. You're getting two heavyweight actors in a scene together, and you're just letting them fucking work. Just letting them work, you know? And you don't really see a lot of older Valia as emotional as she is.
She's got to be because you could stern and.
But you could tell that her uncle fucking pulls that out of her because they hate each other at the end of the day, and it is sad because you see the full on complete dissolution of a family.
Yeah, and
it's always sad when that happens.
Yeah.
And but even then, you see in that moment, we're like, okay, these two are just toxic. They're not going to work. Because she is like we talked about, that prideful, like, we got fucked over, we need to take our house back, and he's like, we should just know our fucking place and be glad we're alive. And then and what I love about that scene is everything he says is true. She pushed Griffin too hard.
Everything she says is true too,
yeah,
though.
Both but that's what, and again, that's why I love the scene. It's where two people are diametrically opposed and they're both right.
How about the face dancer at the end?
And she turns into Griffin. What the hell?
She's a face dancer.
Yeah, I didn't know there were shapeshifters in this world.
Okay, they're called.
So I was confused.
They're called face dancers, and they feature heavily into the end of the original saga that Frank wrote. They're Tleilaxu, and we learn things about the Tleilax that are very horrifying. They have I can't remember what they use to make golas or what they use, but they're called. They're basically it's understood that they're. How to put it? They make golas through these things called axolotl tanks, and nobody's ever seen them. And the fucked up thing is, whenever they're on Tleilax, Bene Tleilax, nobody's ever seen any Tleilaxu women.
Yikes.
Yeah. So it's understood after a while that people start figuring out, the reason why is because every woman on Bene Tleilax is turned into these tanks.
Yeah.
By like genetic engineering, like that's fucked up.
Yeah.
And so the entire Imperium rises up against the Bene Tleilax and like slaughters them all. The problem is that they have to use axolotl tanks at the end of the saga for other things. So there's women that have to volunteer to be that because they haven't figured out how to do it another way.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah, it continues that whole that really adds to the.
but
Herbert had
a name that is prominent.
Really strange opinions
in those last three. It's like Chapter House. The last three books that take place after God. Oh no, it's not 2, 3, 4. I think it's something in Chapter House. Those last two books that take place like 4,000 years after Leto's death. Leto II's death. And that's when shit has just gone crazy. But Cytail is the name of a Tleilaxu face dancer, I think. And he features heavily into it. And there's a lot of shit going on because at one point they realize that what has been used to detect them before doesn't work. Like they figured out a way to get around that, the Tleilaxu have. And that's when shit gets scary because then it's like fucking pod people type shit. Like we don't know which one of us might be a Tleilaxu.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy, man.
So I want to go back to
you should read those last two books.
I want to go back to the thinking machine stuff too, because what do you think about that? What are the implications of that?
So you've heard like when they land on Arrakis, Gurney Halleck is reading from a little book.
Yeah.
In the movie, and
Yeah.
that's the Orange Catholic Bible. I think I've talked about it.
Yeah, you have.
So it's like all of these religions, like Zen, Sunni, and then there's if you know anything about like Sunni and Shia Muslims and the difference between the two, it's fascinating to read about because it is literally like a two tribes warring like hundreds of years ago, and they've never, like for various reasons, have never gotten over it. So that's why they're so opposed to each other, like where they want to murder each other, right?
I mean, yeah, and you see it all over all over.
There's Zen, Sunni, and Buddha, and there's he combines religions in this future time, but also there's for a long time you realize you're like, well, we've gotten Buddhist and we've gotten Zen and we've gotten Muslim and we've gotten Christian, we've gotten all these different things, but we're there's no Jewish. And then towards the end of the saga, these people show up and they're like the last remaining Jews ever, and like it's revealed that Jews still exist, but at some point they decided to completely hide themselves from everybody, and they said fuck this because we're tired of getting slaughtered and shit, whatever. So it's interesting because again they combine these religions. What the fuck are we just talking about? Oh, the thinking machines. So the Orange Catholic Bible is basically like the Christian version of the Bible at this point. And one of the tenets is thou shalt not make a machine in the likeness of man. And that's a big fucking
androids. No,
yes.
No.
Well, anything. We're
Yeah,
talking PCs. This shit would be a thinking machine.
Right, because it has AI and okay.
This maybe not because it's a machine that serves a purpose.
A computing device.
You have to do things to this to make it work.
It doesn't have a keyboard. It doesn't have a circuit board like my phone does or my laptop does. Yeah. I get what you mean. Would cars even be allowed? Is that
cars would be allowed, but just not.
Oh, because they're a combustible engine. It's not a
right. It's a machine. It's
not a thinking machine.
It's If you think about it like that,
again, circuit board. That's the best way to think of it. If it has a circuit board,
yeah,
kind
of. I mean, there's ways around it, and certainly at this time in the Imperium, it's 116 years after the end of the thinking machine wars. At some point during that 116 years, these next couple of generations, look. You know why Nazism is fucking taking a rise nowadays? Is because all the people who dealt with it are dying or dead. The people who dealt with it are you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the young people, like people who are 20 nowadays, like they've probably never met anybody who lived during that time or didn't give a fuck what they said anyway.
Because they're going to be like in their 90s at this point. Like they're very old, yeah.
What I'm saying is that's why things like the Holocaust Project are very important so that we keep those on record, those testimonies and everything. But the problem is, any of those things, it's the same thing there in this time. 116 years, that's 2 or 3 generations removed from the end of the war.
They're not going to have that level of hatred towards thinking machines.
Not even close, right? Yeah. So that's kind of why it's some slippage. And I love how they showed that one Baron like getting a thinking machine in the bar really quick at one point. And then at the end, during the scene, he's one of the ones who gets roasted alive because he was engaging in thinking machine technology.
Yeah.
which I'm surprised they didn't get the Atreides guy.
Yeah.
But clearly, Valia still wants revenge on the Atreides because she was going to set him up to be the fall guy.
Yeah. She was gonna fuck him over. And it was just like, again, that's what I love about Dune. Like, my experience with it is just understanding what Herbert was doing and playing with religion and showing that like and like what generations of hatred does and
Yes.
what the destruction that's caused because of what he's trying to say in these stories. At some point, you keep fighting for hundreds of years. You're going to be like, what the fuck did we even start fighting about? Why are we still fucking fighting about this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it sounds so simple to break that down that way, but that's pretty much what this series is, and what this franchise has always been, is of this idea of because at some point, for me personally, but that's a great way to talk about that. Of like, that's a good way to say that, of like generations.
It is
of those machines. They're going to lose that, and then there's going to be slippage.
Yeah,
and it for me, if I were in this world, I'd be like, I get where you're coming from, and there is leeway, obviously, with space travel and things like that. Because of spice, you don't necessarily need thinking machines and shit like that.
Well, by this point, again, by the end of the Machine Wars, they've perfected the Holtzman engines to the point where they know where to go, or they know how to get there safely.
Right.
So it's been perfected at this point, and we've seen
But
high,
even me,
Hayliners.
but you know what I'm saying? At some point, like we need technology to help
Right,
in
but
some way.
the Spacing Guild, again, if you look at the Holtzman
You know what I mean?
engines as a engine, it is a device which serves a purpose and then is dead.
Yeah.
It is the engine, and it has to be run by somebody.
Yeah.
And that is the Spacing Guild navigators. They're the only ones who can make the calculations fast enough to get people through those folding space trips safely. So that's why it's important that they exist, because when the Holtzman engines are introduced in that Legends trilogy, there's talk among the League of Human Worlds of, using thinking machine technology in the ships just so they don't lose so many.
Yeah.
Because again, like 100 ships would
That's what I'm
leave,
saying.
and they like 40
when you
would
start
show up.
traveling across space, you're
Right.
going to need
That's
technology
why,
like that.
That's why the Spacing Guild showing up and those people understanding what the properties of spice could do and how they could evolve.
And that's why Arrakis became the center of the universe, because it's this fucking spice. The
It
spice
wa-
will flow.
It was, yeah. At this point, it's got to be. Can I just say one thing about this show? I don't think Mark Strong gets enough credit for how fucking awesome he is, dude. I am such a fan. Every time he's on screen, he's perfect to play like an emperor. You know what I mean? He just exudes that gravitas.
He just got a great deep voice.
He knows how to like just make stuff happen with like
Wait,
one
and it's-
flinch of his face.
Is it Javaro? What's his name?
Yeah, Haviko Carino.
Isn't there a character named Javaro?
Move on.
I feel like I saw a character or had a.
I feel like you don't know what the fuck you're
I
talking.
thought I heard that name before. Anyway.
And the guy who plays Desmond is fucking awesome.
Oh, he's
too.
great. Desmond.
I'm disappointed we haven't seen him in the end of the episode things yet.
Yeah, I would love to know. Well, Desmond, Valia, and Tula, I think, are the most interesting storylines to me. I like what they're doing with the Emperor and like his conflictedness, but then again, he eventually makes a decision. Okay, I'm gonna keep using this guy because there was a moment but the best part of that was when Desmond again looks at him and says, "It's your choice. I aim to serve you." And I'm like, what the fuck is this guy's game? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
I don't know either, but I do know this, is that what better way to fucking bring the Landsrod into fucking
Yeah, let's
deal
talk about that. Let's
is
talk
like,
about that.
hey, you guys want to fucking bring an Inquisition? Well, like all of those plots coming together and then being foiled by the guy coming out and going, "Yeah, I did it.
Oh, that's another thing.
Yeah,
I was
no
listening-
need for an Inquisition. I
was
did it."
listening to the podcast for this, and
I should listen to that.
the writers were on, and they were talking about this because they said it was it was fun to write and talk about, because it was what are the agendas between all these different people in this scenario? And then, like you just said, it all gets blown up because one person is honest. And he says, I fucking did it. And, like, no regret.
And not before his daughter comes out.
Yeah.
Not before the Harkonnen puts his foot in it.
No.
But before the Atreides blows everybody up.
Yeah. Just amazing. Amazing.
Just so.
It's like, what you know what I told you? What was I talking about?
Just awesome.
A couple weeks ago, I was talking about, it was the franchise, where I was talking about where it's a comedy where I take enjoyment how shitty of a scenario the show keeps getting. And it just makes me laugh how fucking worse the situation gets more and more and more and more. And it's almost like that, but in a drama sense with Dune. Because always, I'm like, you know what? Fuck them. They're royalty. Fuck all of them.
Dune Prophecy
I love it.
is one of those shows
You know what
that I'll be watching it, and I will forget that I'm watching a TV show. You know what I mean? I'm so into the show and what's happening and the characters and everything else so well done that it sucks me in to the point where I'm like, this is my reality right now. Is this show? Show's over. I go back to whatever, but I'll sometimes be watching and be like, oh yeah, I'm watching a show. Because have you ever done that where you're just like, and then you realize you've been sitting like that for you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I love it. But of course, I'm really into the world and I'm
Yeah.
a nerd.
You are already gonna have that.
You are a
bias.
nerd.
So, from one space show to another space show.
Woo.
I have not watched Skeleton Crew. Full disclosure.
So
Tyler will give me some.
I got the Onyx Cinder, and I had no idea what it was. It's a big ship, and it's got 4 kid characters and an old character named
I also
Jode.
forget this show exists. I keep forgetting it's on.
I think his name is Jode.
Jode. So yeah, it's a bunch of.
Jod, I think.
I've heard people say it's like it's got that like classic, nostalgic, like original trilogy, 80s Star Wars vibes to it, like Goonies in space kind of vibes to it.
Sure,
What do you-
Goonies in space is a good way to look
Yeah.
at it. Well, okay, so these 4 kids show up: Neil, Wim, and then 2 girls. I can't remember their names. Xena, Jen? No, that's one of the girls in Agatha. There's 2 girl characters, and they're all. Wim's dad is. They live in this place. And they're taught about how to be a service to the what is it? The Republic. Be of service to the Republic.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is after the Mandalorian, or this is after Return of the Jedi. So the Republic, New Republic, whatever. And they keep being told all this other stuff, and slowly you start to figure out that something's a little off. And then you realize. Once they figure out, they find this hole, and Wim thinks it's a Jedi temple, and it's not. They've heard all these stories about all these things, but there's a barrier. They keep referring to a barrier, and then you figure out that there's a barrier around the planet. I can't remember the name of the planet. I think it's like At-Aten, I think, but they find this opening, they go into it, and they're like walking around and stuff, and they realize it's a ship, and Wim accidentally turns it on, and it turns over and comes out of the ground and fucking starts taking off. And it goes past the barrier. These kids have never even seen stars.
Huh.
Okay? Then there's a robot that is helping them that's part of the ship. He's like the first mate, whatever, and it's Nick Frost does the voice. He's great. And he's helping them kind of, and he takes them. They're like, okay, so they warp out.
Yeah.
And they realize when they stop that they don't know where they are, and they don't know how to get back because they don't know.
Yeah.
They get to the space pirate port because they figure out, okay, let's get here because this is the best way to maybe find our way back home. We just need to find like a star map and find it so that we can input the coordinates and go back home. And until we do that, we can't, whatever. And so they get to this pirate port, it's a space port, but it's also full of pirates. And they walk in there. Wim's got Old Republic credits that his dad gave him. He spills them. So these pirates are like, oh, shit, this is a fucking brand new, this is mint condition Old Republic. Where'd you get, da-da-da. And then some other people figure out that they're from Ad-Atten. And every time they talk about it, people are like, oh, yeah, haha, I'm from fucking, the boogie, I'm from fucking,
like it's not a real place.
Yes, right. So then they start figuring out, holy shit, these people start figuring out that there really is an Ad-Atten, and apparently it's this place of like vast treasure in legends, right?
Yeah.
So they get thrown into the brig by, at the very beginning of the series, it's a bunch of pirates. They take over a New Republic ship, and they're trying to. It's their captain's like last desperate effort to like stay captain. They get in, break in, and everything, and it's like one credit. And this can't remember his the name of his species, but he's in the original Cantina. He's a wolf dude.
Oh yeah.
He's like the first mate. And he comes up to the captain, and the captain has a helmet on, so you don't know who it is. But he's like, hey, fucking one fucking credit, dude. You're done. You're done. You're done. Take him to the airlock. Da da da. Then the show starts. So it's like a flashback.
Mm-hmm.
So these kids, at the end of when they get captured in the pirate spaceport, it's that guy, the wolf-faced dude.
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh, okay, whatever. So they get thrown into the brig, and this one guy comes out of the shadows. And they think he's a Jedi. I don't think he is. But they think he's a Jedi because he's kind of dressed like one. And it revealed to be Jude Law. And he's like, I can help you guys get out of here if you guys can help me get back to my ship. Because it's his ship. And you figure out that he was the captain in the very beginning of the first episode. I haven't seen three because it's on tonight. I'm very excited for it. I'll say this about it. It adds... Anytime... You don't have to involve the Skywalker family to have a good story, a Star Wars story.
Right.
You just have to be aware that it's in the same universe as all these other stories. And as long as you're true to the fact that you're in this universe with all these other stories, you don't have to reference them. But if your story kind of rubs up against another story, you kind of do.
Yeah, I mean, like Mandalorian and stuff like that, like that's intimately tied to that stuff.
And here's the problem with that shit is that we know what
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because the fucking
they're not
first
mentioned
order,
at all.
The first order comes back.
Yeah, and they're not mentioned. Did they ever mention Din or Grogu at all in those other movies?
Nobody. No. So everybody's dead, right?
Yeah.
So you fucked that up. Anyway, the point is that I think it's a entertaining show.
But you like it because it's in universe, but it's not like
I'm generally,
so far not super attached to other movies.
I'm generally not a fan of stories that take place with the main characters being younger than 10.
Yeah, I'm not huge on kids,
but it's done in such a way that it is kind of like the Goonies almost.
And you also have to remember a lot of fucking kids watch Star Wars, man.
Also, the kid actors the actors who play the kids do a great job.
I'm sure they're good, yeah.
And you start. It's a believable story because it's a lot of it is like you're late for school type shit.
It's more relatable, more relatable stuff.
It's totally relatable shit. One of the kids has a giant snout.
Well, that does make me,
but
that does
still a kid.
Yeah, that does help. That that it is again. It's well, the fact that it's like okay, well, it's like how do we incorporate it into Star Wars? Oh yeah, Old Republic coins and like little shit like that. Yeah, because to me,
well, the species of the guy first mate,
and I never read the books or the comics, but I just based on what I've heard from talking,
I would love to see them bring Shira Bree.
But based on
into live action.
But based on what I've talked to with friends that have watched the shows or read, any of the stuff outside of the movies and things like that, they've said, what they've loved about it is that it is so tied to the world. But some of it like this is so distant that it's like because this universe is fucking huge, and like the best books and comics and stuff for the expanded lore was like mentions it, touches on it, but it still tells its own story and it still goes its own direction.
Look at it like this: like Dune and Star Wars are the only difference between Dune and Star Wars is that Star Wars has been around for as far
Dune
as
has been around longer.
No, Star Wars is a much bigger cultural heavyweight. Has much bigger stamp on cultural.
Dune is more niche.
Right. Now,
I would agree.
But other than that, they're basically the same types of stories, and here's why. The Dune stories take place among the royalty and these huge fucking things that are going on in the halls of power. And, wow, it's so tense in this political intrigue and and major wars. And,
I mean,
what about the dude who's just trying to make a living like on like a swamp planet, doesn't give a fuck about politics at all. Yeah. Like, what about that story?
That's interesting.
Yes, thank you. And that is why this show I think is successful is because it is. And one great thing that Rian Johnson did for the second one was that he brought about the idea that anybody can be a Jedi, that it's not a Skywalker thing, that anybody can be
which
a
is what
hero.
it always was, yeah.
Should have been always right. And then JJ had to come in and fuck it all up again. Sorry, did I moratorium on JJ?
Can I just say?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said you'd stop.
All right, I'm sorry, JJ.
I will say, that's why I was like, hold on, I like where you're going on this. Because while a lot of people, look, I have your opinions on Solo. As a movie, you and I have had this discussion.
It's fun.
You and I have had this discussion a million fucking times, and you can have this stupid circular argument with art. Should it exist? Does it need to exist? No, art needs to exist ever if you're going to go by that logic.
Also, it does.
Exactly.
Whether you like it or not.
It does. It exists. Exactly. It happened. But my point is, the thing that I liked most about that movie was, yes, obviously it's tied to Han and Chewie and all that shit. But it was more fun for me because it was a swashbuckling space opera that didn't fucking talk about the Skywalkers and all that other shit. Yes, it comes into play. But what I liked, and that's what excites me about this show, is the idea of like, okay, it's space pirates.
It's ultimately a fucking heist movie.
Excuse me. With this show with Skeleton Crew, it's a fucking pirate show.
Yeah,
it's space pirate show.
Well, okay, so one thing I want to stress so fucking hard about Solo. Please,
I enjoyed that movie. I don't give a shit.
let's make something clear for all the shitheads. Okay. First things first. It was probably done that they got rid of Phil Lord and Chris Miller, and then brought in Ron Howard. Whatever. Finished product is great, I think. Whoever had stamps on what, can't really tell. Great movie, right? All that nonsense drama, blah, blah, blah. All right. Honestly, the only part of the movie that I don't like is how he gets his name.
Oh, that's so dumb.
It's still groan-inducing, right? But everything else is great. It's a fun movie.
I love Donald Glover as Lando. I like the dude who played young Han.
Yeah, Aiden Ehrenreich.
Yeah,
he was great in Oppenheimer. Well, there was all this talk because he had to take acting classes.
Point is, you're enjoying it. That's good.
Point is that it was a fun movie.
I
and
will
people
check
freak
it out.
What?
I promise, I will check it out.
Oh, I thought you were saying Solo. I'm like, you've seen Solo. And it's got Woody Harrelson, who's
underutilized, but
also
he's in it.
Real shaking.
Can
up
we talk about
his ass real close to that alt-right line, isn't he? Just real close,
but not too close. Anyway, so now back to something that I watched, because we're gonna wrap it up with 2 DC things because we still got a shit ton more to do.
What?
Yeah. Creature Commandos first 2 episodes dropped last week.
Oh, we haven't even watched this shit. We haven't even done this.
Creature Commandos 2 episodes came out. I've seen a lot of reviews of it, talking about how they think it's how it's been mostly positive, generally positive, and like I don't want to take someone else's take, but I do agree with it. I think this is a great way to start his universe.
Yeah.
in a great way, because you know what he's doing? He's gonna be like, here, I'm giving you something right now that is has all of my filmmaking tricks and of everything that you know for me and of what I do with my writing and shit on display. Because this is very James Gunn. If you followed his career, this is exactly what you would expect him to make, right? Because I think that's perfect. Because I'm telling you right now, Superman is going to be such a huge fucking bait and switch from this, and it's going to be the complete opposite. And that is him showing you, being like, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to tell the stories we want to tell. And something like Creature Commandos can have all the sex and violence and all that shit that it wants, and it could still be in the same universe as Superman. You know why? Because comic books have been doing it for years. It's that fucking simple.
My favorite. First of all, I knew I was gonna love it.
I fucking love it.
I mean, every bit of it. The part where they're listening to him and the princess fuck, and he's
oh
like,
my god,
give him 30 seconds. Wait, he's been around a little bit. He's had some good.
Yeah, but
give him a minute.
No,
but he's an older guy.
But with his age, I don't know.
But I think my favorite part was the moment where G.I. Robot and what's the
the fish one.
Nina. Fuck is her
Yeah.
name? Nina?
You know what I hate?
When they first meet each other,
Yeah.
and literally their entire conversation is about how much he loves killing
All
Nazis. And I just want to say that we need more of that on TV. We need more anti-Nazi shit on TV.
You and I talked about this.
More. Nazis are evil, and they suck. And if you're anything close to a Nazi, kill yourself. Sorry.
Wow.
Okay. Actually, get help. Get help. But stop being a Nazi.
If that doesn't work, then you know.
I'm sorry, dude.
So you and I talked about this. I think another reason why this is a perfect way to kick off the DCU is he's pretty much giving you a double bird right away, and he's telling Nerdrotic and Geeks and Gamers and Heel versus Fuckface and Rip a Turd, all of them. He's telling them the same thing. Fuck off.
Yeah. And
it's not for you.
We talked about it, and it seemed like it's almost made just to flip them off.
He literally,
it's great.
Tyler, he literally
fan-fucking-tastic.
added a character to this team that's whole thing is talking about how he only wants to fucking kill Nazis. That's his whole goal at all.
Thumbs up. Way up.
The first scene, we get Cersei, right? Yeah, Cersei. Is that how he said it?
Yeah.
Which, fuck
That's
you.
what they
I
say.
always read it as
Cersei.
Cersei,
Shut
you
the fuck
jerks.
up.
Cersei, she, like, the whole premise of this is she's going to attack this country, or she's rallied a bunch of incels around her message.
Which is so funny.
It's amazing because one of the first things is like, all the woke feminist agenda. Men don't have any rights anymore.
I've heard they have really great waterfalls, but only women can.
Only women get them in Themyscira.
How come only women get the best waterfalls?
What are the
It was just
Amazon?
So fucking great.
Because
And when they get their asses kicked later on, it's so great. Just murdered.
So
Just straight up.
Let's talk about this. And again, going back to the theme, I'm telling you, this is all planned to bait and switch with Superman, because he's doing what is he good at? The misfits. He's good at the violence. He's good at needle drops. He's good at comedy. Like, he really does put all that in this. And I'll tell you what, it still fucking works. Like, I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you, but it still works.
Fine.
It still works. Weasel's still great.
I mean, thumbs up to everything. It's the story itself is interesting. I'm not sure. Like, I remember there was 2 seasons of Peacemaker, right? Or there's only one?
They just finished finished season 2.
Right. So
that's coming out in August.
Peacemaker season 1 was, to me, very similar. And
yes.
Here's the thing: is I don't know what this is leading to, but I do like the characters. I do like that. It's interesting to me that, when he cast everybody, he said, you've got to be able to play these characters in live action.
Which is smart.
Great. So I can't wait to see them in live action, because he said we will.
Yeah, he said
It's a very entertaining 28 minutes every fucking episode. It's right in your face. The animation is excellent. The writing is great. The characterization is awesome.
And
the soundtrack fucking slaps hard.
And you and I talked about this. when this first was announced, and they first were talking about this, and he said, and I said the video game thing kind of was like, I don't know about that, but it only makes so much sense to take these characters, introduce them through animation, and have them through something like this, because I think I don't know how much of a role this will play in the grander DCU. I don't know if it even will that much, but it's for guys like you and me, for people that actually invest in this. When David Harbour's Frankenstein shows up in a movie, I'm going to lose my fucking shit. When The Bride shows up in something, I'm like, oh my God, they got The Bride. You know what I mean? Or Phosphorus?
The interesting thing to me is I remember when it was first announced.
Yes.
And they talked about, Rick Flag Sr. And G.I. Robot and da-da-da, and I was like, okay, so it's a prequel. Right? It's going to be like
you and I both thought it was in World War II, yeah.
I thought so. I thought
even The Bride and Frankenstein and like all that other stuff. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's going to be like a period.
I was fine
piece.
with that.
Yeah.
But now they're trying to tell me that Rick Flag Sr.'s around after. I mean, that's just weird to me.
Well,
but I don't really care that much.
It's only weird because Rick Flag was killed in Suicide Squad.
No,
which also
you couldn't just make him another
That's another
character?
thing too. This is clearly post Suicide Squad.
Yeah, obviously.
Post Peacemaker, because this is what he talked about the Peacemaker. He's like, most of that stuff I can make work in this new universe, and I think the Suicide Squad being attached to this makes a lot of sense, and it justifies the team existing in the first place brilliantly, because she's like, well, after fucking Starro, I can't have criminals on a team anymore, but they didn't say anything about monsters. So
you have human criminals.
But they didn't say anything about monsters. And so then instead of Task Force X, it's Task Force M, and then we get the reference of like, okay, we are dealing with the death of Rick Flag, with him, and there's a reason why Rick Flag Sr. is in this, and like,
well, the fight between him and Dr. Phosphorus for the phone was classic.
Oh, so good.
Alan
Tudyk as Phosphorus is funny as shit. The running gag of he explaining which smile he's giving is so funny.
I always look like I'm smiling. I'm a skeleton, but yes, I am smiling right now.
This one is a sarcastic one.
Sarcastic smile.
The Bride. So your favorite's probably The Bride. I would say Phosphorus I liked a lot, but G.I. Robot has to be my favorite just because
he's so great.
The fact when he's guarding the princess and his whole thing is he just keeps talking about how many Nazis he killed. Well, he walloped a whopping 96 Nazis, and this is a battle. He's like
sent straight
to
hell.
And then he has that sweet moment with the fish
belong.
where he's like, I haven't killed Nazis with a friend in a long time. I hope to do that with you soon. Again, yeah, I think this is him unabashedly just getting out before anything else.
Look,
and just being like, well, you're not welcome here because you're a piece of shit.
I'm just gonna fucking say this to you, and you're probably not listening because honestly,
why would they?
Well, yeah, if you're who I'm addressing, you're definitely not listening to this, woke trash, because that's who we are, woke trash.
Just like this show.
If you believe that you are a crusader trying to save the world and you also work at Valvoline.
Right.
And you spend a lot of time at Dollar Tree. I just have to tell you, you are not anywhere near. And all you need to do is stop understanding that it has nothing to do with immigrants, why your life sucks. It has to do with you keep voting in these fucking fucks who want to make life harder for shitheads like us and you and us. And we're all the same, dude. We're all getting fucked. And you guys are, just the point is if you think that hating another group of people is going to somehow lift you out of poverty or whatever the fuck, or get you a girlfriend, it is, whatever you think it is, you're wrong. And fuck you. And you need to be told fuck you a lot until you figure out, pull your head out of your ass, and stop fucking with fucking human evolution.
Also, I'd like to point out.
Again, they're not listening because they're not listening to this woke trash. But yeah, please.
I was trying to segue that back.
I want you to.
I was trying to say that back because if you don't, you're going to end up. And I was going to say, don't listen to Amazonian sorceresses as well. They're not good. They're not good.
Yeah.
Her fight with the Bride was fucking awesome. That was brutal.
Yeah.
But the part that messes me up is when she turned her arms and the fucking and this is wacky inflatable flailing arm tube man.
Yeah.
That was great. Oh, and when she smacks on the ground and they're not gonna die. They're gonna show up again. But the whole thing where she smacks down and she's like, "I'm sorry," she goes, "Go fuck yourself." Their dynamic's great. Episode 2, where they focus on the bride, I think is really, really good episode.
I think what was the show?
Horniest episode of the 2 for sure. There's a lot of fucking in that episode.
Was it Agatha a little bit that was like each episode was kind of like focusing on one of the characters?
Yeah, because the next episode is going to be G.I. Robot.
If that's what this is about, then I'm totally all for that. I think that's a great way for a first season. And here's the thing about The Boys that has done a really good job is that they continue to mine those pasts of each character each season. So there's more, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every time you learn something, you realize you haven't learned all of it, and there's much more beneath that and whatever. So I think that's a really smart way of introducing, characters, and then you can use that. And James Gunn is great at taking seemingly innocuous things, moments between people and turning them into, something so deep and so important, because that's what life is about.
Or the fact that he could tap into the idea of hey, DC has their version of Frankenstein. Why not play into that? Or, and the bride. These characters exist in DC. Let's use them. And again, I just keep thinking somehow this guy it's so interesting to see a filmmaker who I've never met and probably never will meet.
He follows you.
No, there's fake account on Blue Sky. I got excited and I was like, wait a minute. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, it's fake. But I just feel like this dude and I just understand each other weirdly on so many levels. Because you and I joke about it. I feel like he's making shit just for me.
Yeah.
Because think about it. He takes an idea of a found family superhero shit, already score for me. I love that. And then you add in the element of their monsters. There's this horror element. There's this gothic element to it. So I'm fucking into that. And then, you add on the fact that, it's a very funny, violent, crazy, over-the-top series. It's just hitting all the notes. And I want to talk about the bride's character, too, and her dynamic with Frankenstein. Because that ending to that thing, I was just like, this is, it was just smiling the whole time. Because I'm like, I love, already, we're seeing him do, and we're seeing DC try things completely different than what they were doing.
You and I talked
in
about
the previous
this.
regime, and even what Marvel's doing, they're doing different things.
You and I talked about this off the air, and you had a great twist, or you had a great thought about this, is the whole Victor Frankenstein bride relationship. It's a lot like
up.
Pretty Things.
Yes.
And when you
Poor Things, isn't it?
Poor Things.
Yeah.
When you understand, if you watch that movie, you understand that by the time, they show her masturbating and it's clearly she's hitting puberty mentally, okay? And then when she does start becoming sexually active, it's after she's, 18 mentally. You know what I mean? But yeah, obviously the inference is that at one point the brain in that body was a child's brain.
Well, and what I love,
it's murky enough that some people go, ew.
But this is what I love about that too, because it's meant to make you feel conflicted and weird about it, because there's multiple layers to this. Because in a few scenes ago, she was teaching her how to talk. He was teaching her the things you would a child, and then at one point, when he gives her the necklace and they have the whole thing, there was weirdly romantic look there, and I'm like, are they gonna fuck? And then the next scene they're having sex, and I'm like,
I did not see that coming. I was like, whoa.
And I'm like, ugh. Because the thing is, what bothers me, I don't know how much time has passed between those scenes. I think the implication is that obviously she's consenting to this.
Yeah,
but still, it's it's what's so messy and gross about this. It's a couple of things. It's kind of like it's necrophilic because that's a corpse.
Yes.
Parts
whether you reanimate
together.
it or not, it's still dead pieces.
And regardless of how much time has passed, in a few scenes ago, he was teaching her as if she were a child. That's what's so wrong about this relationship. And I think it's done in a way that you're supposed to feel weird and complicated. You're not supposed to feel for Frankenstein because it's a forced relationship on her. And that's the whole point that I think James Gunn is trying to get at. She was manipulated by men her whole life because Victor, in a way, manipulated her and had sex with her. And then Frankenstein says,
she was made
I made
for
you
a
to be mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only reason she exists was and look, let's break this down. Let's break this down into feminism. Let's break it fucking down, dude.
Go. Two men talking about feminism.
Right? No shit.
Trump's America.
But seriously, like
no, that's what. Yeah.
Think about how many like wives in the 50s and like the sexual revolution and all these other things. Think about how much that led itself to women feeling like all I do is I go through school so that I can be pretty enough to land a husband. What the fuck? Well, where am I? Who am I? Am I anything other than my husband's wife? Am I anything other than Mrs. John Smith? I don't even use my own name. I don't say Mrs. Violet Smith. It's Mrs. John's. Like, that's fucked up.
Use credit cards until like the 80s or something?
Yes. They couldn't own land.
Excuse me.
Dude, women have had far less rights for far less time than people want to believe or understand. And when you think about it, it is a perfect allegory of, like, for instance, your marriage is a great marriage because it is two people as a partnership for life. The types of marriages that people were expected to have back in the 50s were, I'm the man, I work, you stay home, you have babies, you have kids, and clean. Yes. Everything is, I
make the bacon, you take care of the house.
I make the bacon, you fucking fry it. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah. Make me a sandwich.
And that is a perfect allegory for how women have felt in these modern times, these last 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 years. They are not, and often many times have not been treated as humans, but rather as an extension of a man, and that is not right. And I am all for women saying fuck you to that shit, dude.
But
I am single.
That's what I'm saying. More than anything, I will give him that much. I will give James Gunn that much credit in the team behind this show.
Yeah.
Because I am having this much of a conversation about the Bride of Frankenstein in a fucking DC show, dude. That's how good it is. And that's what I mean. Like, when you break it down like that, when you have that thought, and like, because I was so disgusted by that sex scene.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, that's the point. Because, again, her whole existence has been manipulated by men, and she has lived for hundreds of years trying to escape Frankenstein, a man she clearly doesn't want to be with.
The montage was fucked up.
But goddamn, that montage was funny as shit. That was so good. Also, what the fuck? He's a crime boss now? What was that? He was like Scarface on a fucking yacht?
Who the fuck knows?
So we keep swearing. But I didn't mean to go that...
Wait, we keep fucking swearing?
What the fuck?
On this fucking show?
I didn't mean to go that deep, but...
but it's true, though.
I wanted to talk about it because that scene stuck with me a lot.
What, the fucking scene?
With Victor in The Bride, because I'm like, why did that disgust me so much? It kept like running in my head.
I thought it was there more for you to see that Frankenstein saw that.
That too, but it was multiple things, because I think it was that, and I think it was a cool, like...
Multiple organs.
Yeah. I also think it was interesting to the parallel, though, because it's showing a woman's I'm not saying taking advantage, but showing an aggression towards a man and saying, like, I want to have sex with you, I want to do this, and it's done.
Well, done
in a more comedic way, and then you have
it's consensual.
No, but listen to me. That's not what we're getting stop. We're getting tied up in words. We're getting tied up in the words.
Now,
what I meant to say, she was the initiator. She was the one who said, "I want to have sex with you," both times. He rebuffed her, and I'm saying you're having that sequence next to the bride sequence. I thought was an interesting choice.
She said she wanted to have sex with Victor Frankenstein.
Oh my God, no! I'm talking about the princess.
Oh,
I said the scene before that. Is this, and I didn't, you're right, I didn't specify. It's the scene in the bathroom.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I thought
that was just for comedic
I was trying to figure out why you're so confused.
I thought it was just for comedic effect.
No,
I don't think that had anything to do with really anything.
Well, yeah, whatever. I'm trying to apply more to it, but yeah, it was more so.
You're looking way too deep into just a fucking scene.
They literally had the two scenes almost back to back. I'm just saying there was some sort of connection there.
Was there?
There might have been a scene in between, but I remember them being back to back.
I think it also refers to how it's just it's a great show, and I'm very excited to see.
But the 30 seconds to 60 seconds thing made me laugh too. And then him being like, "Hey, I was a fucking bro to you," and he's like, "After you tried to kill me." This is after we fought over the phone because they were late because he was fucking the princess. Was even funnier to me. That's the whole reason they were late. And he's like, "I was being a fucking bro to you." Love Creature Commandos. Let's talk about Absolute Superman number dos. It's 2 for our American listeners. What are you looking at?
Reading the book.
You're reading it right now as we're recording? Wow. So Absolute Superman,
Superman,
Of the,
absolute number 2.
we talked about it on the show.
All in.
Of the Trinity, it is you and I had it lower than we really dug on Batman and Wonder Woman, but we needed to be sold a little bit more on Superman. I think you and I could agree this issue is better. I think
This makes me want to read number 3.
yes.
So, last week we talked about it, and the first thing that I keep trying to think, what is it that is, what is the genre defining, what is the character defining trait? And somebody said that he comes to, somebody at the comic shop said that he comes to Earth as an adult instead of a baby. And I'm like, okay, all right, okay,
I like that,
okay,
yeah.
all right. So now that.
So
I
Mom and
think
Pa
once-
Kent don't exist.
I think once we don't know,
As we know, yeah.
but I think
mean the
having
popcorn?
my grasp around that,
Yeah.
my hand grip tightly around it,
In a jerking motion.
I think that makes it more intriguing to me because we start the book off, and it's Krypton, the Red Land, 6 years ago, and clearly he's in high school or junior high, and he's talking about he's in school, whatever. And again, like you think about it, that he's only been on Earth for what, a year, maybe 2? Certainly not 20, 24, 30 almost in some iterations of Superman.
Because they said that there's been sightings of him, but they don't.
Well, no, clearly at this point
He's been all. They said he's been
maybe
all
a
over the
year.
globe, and there's been sightings, but it hasn't been anything that. It's been. It seems pretty recent.
So we jump right back into what we left last issue, which is Lois Lane is a member of Lazarus Corp, which is kind of like a Blackwater type of professional soldier type shit.
And they're soldiers.
Yeah.
They're private. Like they're Blackwater. is the
She's
peacemakers.
got cuffs on him, and he's like, I can't break the cuffs. He keeps calling them chuffs, which I'm like,
What a weird.
I don't know, but
why?
Unnecessary. Unnecessary. Look, hey, by the way, he's not from here. Fucking know that, dude. He flies, and he's got a big old suit with an S on his chest.
So I have questions because we originally, you and I were like, okay, are we saying that he's like his suit is super powered? He's getting all these powers, and I like how the issue 2 addresses that. No, he is still Superman. He's still bulletproof and all that, but it is this weird technology that we find out by the end of the issue that his mom created. That's like this weird artificial intelligence, but it's also wearable.
dust?
But there's like dust, and there's a stuff called sunstones that they're mining at the planet.
So this thing is trying to like get these special cuffs off because whatever. And the Lazarus guys show up and literally are like, suspect is
light
resisting
'em
arrest.
up.
He's attacking.
The peacemakers just light them up.
So they don't care about her. They fire at him, and his cape / dust. It's really fun.
That's what's interesting. Yeah, it's not a cape. It's dust. Like, he still flies, and he has the ability to fly, but, yeah, the dust kind of takes the purpose of the cape. And now, what this issue 2 is doing that I think you and I wanted issue 1 to do more of okay, we're fleshing out what makes this Superman different. Okay, he doesn't have a cape. He came here as an adult.
This is a helicopter tank. It's fucking sweet.
And I'll be honest, I wasn't sure, and I this is intentional, I think, with what they're doing narratively. I was so disoriented at times trying to read this book. And what I mean is I'm the kind of guy who I'll read all the text right away because that's, but I am someone who likes to try and admire the art and look in the art as much as possible and trying to see everything, because I'm like, I don't want to just, I want to give the artists their due. I want to admire their work. And I didn't understand that it was dust at first because it's red, and I think this is intentional. It looks like she's fucking exploding. Like, it looks like he shoots up in the air to fly, and he just rips her to pieces. And I think that's intentional because you're like, what the hell is this?
What do you mean?
That shot, the splash page.
No, she's encased in the dust.
Yes, but the dust, because I wasn't sure what was going on. I was
Well,
like,
also he says, "Don't let this tear in half." That's probably what you thought.
yeah, and then again, it's the story is playing with you of like, okay, it's this big red dust. It looks like it's blood, and it looks like
Well, no,
she's
it looks like a cape,
turned into.
dude.
Oh Jesus Christ! Not this shot in particular.
Yeah, that shot
It
the
still
most.
looks like it's ripping her in half. It still looks like blood, does it not? Also, you're making me talk like freaking Walter from The Big Lebowski. That rug tied the room together.
Calmer than you are, dude.
Calmer than you.
No, but this is when I start going. Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
no, this whole issue is awesome. I
And
really
then
liked
and then we get there, and again, like this dust, and it's a bunch. I don't really know what's going on down here in the South American stuff, and she's trying to get rid of him, and he's trying to get rid of her cuffs, and they're talking about. He's like, "Fuck you," and she's like, "Fuck you," and he wants to. He's a good dude, is basically what she finds out. He gets out of there and everything, and all these people are trapped.
Yeah, because they're shooting missiles at the
So
civilians.
he takes his suit type thing, whatever, his dust and everything, and he helps save all these people, and she helps him do it.
He uses his ice breath.
His ice breath.
His laser eyes.
Yep. And there's one point.
Yeah, you kind of. This is the book also kind of showing you all of his powers and how they're going to interpret his powers, and done really effectively. Because like this is just very much a action-packed issue. Very like. This is what happened, and this is what I've liked about the Absolute Universe. And this is what I liked about Earth 1, and what we've talked about so many times on this show, especially when we talk about DC. It's so smart to get these veterans like Jason Aaron and Kelly Thompson and Scott Snyder to do these kind of books, because it's such an interesting way and cinematic way to show, okay, here's how you had questions in the first issue. Here's how I'm going to answer all of them. And here's how I'm going to display all of his powers and show you how all of his powers in my story are
the
different.
dust is connected to his suit. If you notice by the end
Yeah,
of
because
everything,
it goes back into his suit.
Yeah, his suit reforms.
Yeah. I noticed that too, yeah.
So she starts figuring out that he's
So
good.
the narrative changes to her during a field Lois writing a field report on Superman. And you were with me when I was reading it, and I said, okay, and I chuckled. Because I said in the first issue, there were a few times I'm like, all right, Jason, you're a little bit on the fucking nose here. I get it. The people of Steel. And he says it again in this issue, and I'm like, that's still stupid, Aaron. I hate it, Jason. But I love that he's trying to be like, oh, well, my Lois doesn't like to write reports. Because she's like, I got to write a report. Don't let... Also, this was interesting. So Brainiac is like this AI that's connected to the Lazarus Core.
We think it's Brainiac. I don't know.
It looks like Brainiac. It might not be.
Yeah.
It's Ra's al Ghul because it's the Lazarus.
Hey, when haven't we seen a supervillain in front of a bank of televisions with a whole bunch of electrodes coming out of his skull and his back and his spine. Wait,
So anyway,
we see it could be Lex Luthor.
There's a few of them where I went, okay.
Could be Lex Lazarus.
I see what you're doing there.
Yeah.
Was when she's like, wait, you said you hate writing reports. I'm like,
hate writing reports.
Milo doesn't
Nobody
like
hates
to write.
writing reports more than you. You once yelled at me for 30 minutes when I asked you to write a. I know that.
Oh, and another joke was there's a shot of like Superman being a loner and walking on by himself, and there's a sign that says, Lazarus' death, and then it says the Omega Men, and it's, the Greek Omega symbol. And I'm like, oh, I see. Darkseid. We're going to tease Darkseid? Because remember...
No, Omega Man doesn't. No.
Why?
Omega,
Apocalypse?
Omega Men is a group of guys that were just a bunch of aliens. That's not necessarily Apocalypse and Darkseid.
I think it could be because if you remember...
Yeah, but you're reading that wrong.
Remember?
You're reading
Do you remember, though?
wrong. You're reading it.
Darkseid created this universe. It's probably not Darkseid. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't need you to look it up. We're already an hour and a fucking half into the episode. Let's wrap it up. Let's talk about Absolute Superman number 2. I'll concede to you that
extraterrestrial superheroes. They're in space. There you go.
No, dang it.
La 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 la
Wow.
la 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 la.
So yeah, it pretty much wraps up with a flashback of his parents talking about the sunstone and the particle that he has on his suit.
And at
soul.
the end, Lois Lane is actually writing. And then we get this last thing where it's basically these
Peacemakers.
these peacemakers just blow away a bunch of innocent civilians.
But he says what's going.
Next.
One of them says what's
Nasty
going on, Smith, and I told you I think that theory is because in DC canon, Christopher Smith is Peacemaker, and they keep saying his name's Smith. They don't say his first name. So my guess is like that dude is gonna be like
Maybe.
the Peacemaker.
Maybe.
But anyway,
Yeah. So,
much better than issue number 1. I like it a lot. I think actually finally seeing what Jason Aaron and co are doing with Absolute Superman and like telling the story of what his Superman would be.
Yeah.
Big fan.
So, real quick before we move on to anything else, you said we have two other Absolute Comics titles coming at us, right? Green Lantern and The Flash.
I don't know when.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something.
What?
What
With it red
character-defining trait would you change about either one of those characters?
You make them slow. The Flash, like
I make the Flash slow and the Green Lantern blue.
yep. First of all, he's a Red Lantern because there's no will on this universe. There's just anger.
All right, so moving on. What's the last thing we got?
I honestly don't know how you do anything different with Green Lantern or Flash.
Right? I mean, Earth 1 Green
That's
Lantern.
the problem with the Trinity. The Trinity is the one that you could do it the most.
Earth 1 was Earth 2 Green Lantern?
Earth 1, yeah, the Earth 1 already did it with
Those were great.
What if the ring doesn't actually choose you, you just find it and you use it. They've already done that. So, I don't know. I'm interested as someone who's who loves that character.
We'll say that we will buy Flash,
Or loves
Absolute
that
Flash,
idea.
and Absolute Green Lantern 1. Sure. Okay.
Whatever. I'm just pleading so
Whatever.
desperately for that Lantern show to be good.
Is it time for a long box?
Sloppy.
Long. I just went to do that. It's a long box.
Now this is the plan. Get your ass to Moss.
All right, tell me what you got, buddy. I don't know why I ad-libbed that in there, but there you go.
So back in the day, I used to read a comic called West Coast Avengers, and it was really funny because my brother made a comic book about these characters, and around the same time, I was like, can you make me a West Coast version? And he did, and he made the first splash page for my comic book, but I never made a comic book because I can't draw for shit. Yeah. Also,
Wow.
I don't know how to write. I didn't know what I wanted. You know what I mean? It was like, what? So, but West Coast Avengers, West Coast Avengers. I'm from the South.
Yeah, well, those for I was gonna say the southern
West Coast
folk.
Avengers was an interesting idea because it was born out of the Vision and Scarlet Witch miniseries back in the day, and I think the Vision and Scarlet Witch were members at first, and then they became members. I'm not sure how it works. Well, no, they were both members at different times, and obviously during the Vision Quest storyline that Byrne wrote, which was referenced heavily in the WandaVision
Dugan.
TV show. It's an interesting book.
I was just surprised Dugan was on
Yeah,
it.
that also attracted me because I know he's a good writer.
Is that Ultron? Is this team?
He's been looking at this cover for like 3 hours now, not directly the whole time.
Oh
but
yeah,
he's
fuck you!
seen
I haven't
it.
had you acting like I had it in front of my face this whole time.
You've seen it a bunch.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna.
I even pointed out the Silver Centurion, and you didn't know Ultron. I even told your son it was Ultron. I was like, "That's Ultron," which is kind of weird. You don't know who he is.
War Machine. Yeah, Ultra. But it's okay. So, what is the premise of this book?
Okay, I'm not done.
I'm trying to segue back to it.
Will you just chill the fuck out?
Oh wow.
So, West Coast Avengers was one of my favorite books because at one point, like, Hawkeye basically takes, over a team on the West Coast. And at first I think it was him and Wonder Man and Iron Man and Tigra and Mockingbird. And they're married. Hawkeye and Mockingbird, they were. And so at one point, they go out in the desert to help, like, somebody. And they end up going back in time for, like, 12 issues. And it's great because they reference all these different major like Marvel milestones as they're trying to get back because they have a broken time machine that only goes back. It's fun. It's a great storyline. Some heavy stuff in that storyline I won't get into. But the bottom line is that I really liked West Coast Avengers. After Byrne left, it just kind of devolved into just nothing. It became rebranded in the 90s as this really stupid fucking book called Force Works. And that was Iron Man, War Machine, U.S. Agent, and some other douche. And it was 90s hell. Everything that was wrong with 90s comics was Force Works, right? Like, what a dumb name for a comic, right? Anyway, so years and years passed, and the other day, I haven't read an ongoing Marvel title in years now. Since Sins of Sinister came out, I think last year was the last time I read anything ongoing. I know that everything with the X Island like came down around their ears with Orcus, and there's which is this heavy-handed anti-mute whatever. It's referenced in the book. I don't know what happened, but at some point, Tony Stark starts trusting Ultron. I guess he references why, but or he references like how he. The fact that he does, and people are like, why? And he's like, oh, I can't really tell you. And they're like, well, we can tell you. Look up,
Yeah, this issue.
editor's note,
Up
And
your ass.
I'm not gonna fucking go look at that shit. I have no idea what happened. Yeah. But apparently, it's a bit of a Thunderbolts type thing where he's trying to rehabilitate criminals into becoming Avengers. So it's kind of a Thunderbolts ripoff. But the most intriguing part of it is at the end, it looks like Ultron is bad still after all. And this is issue 1. The art is kind of neat.
Yeah, it's almost like old school. Like
there's parts of it I don't like. There's parts of it I like. Yeah.
It almost looks like it's just the character designs, especially on like the and this could be a variant cover, I don't know. But
I think that's him.
That's what I mean. Like Iron Man looks like the old Iron Man armor, and
Like,
War
that's-
Machine.
Like
kind
I like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like his people drawing skills. But you got Iron Man.
Also, why was he on I mean, I guess I got to read it, but he's on a scooter at one point. I thought that was funny.
Well, because he doesn't have any power. It's his old.
Yeah, that's why he's wearing the throwback suit.
Like, I like the way he draws Ultron, but I don't like the way he draws Blue Bolt. Either that or Blue Bolt is just a boring fucking character.
What the hell is Blue Bolt
Who
anyway?
the fuck knows? Can I have that? So, all in all, I probably won't read it because guess what? It says at the end, coming in 2025 in the pages of West Coast Avengers, The Gospel of Ultron. Gee, is that a company-wide crossover, Mr. Marvel? Sure is, kids. Hope you got a fucking trust fund.
Wait, it's a Ultron event?
Who the fuck knows? You know it's going to be something. And I don't have the money for that. So, sure. Thanks for bringing back West Coast Avengers and bringing back the Silver Centurion armor for a little bit of nostalgia. But that's like the only person from the original West Coast Avengers, and everything else is just like, what is going on here?
Spider-Woman there.
Because she's a criminal.
Jessica Drake's a criminal?
So is Firestar.
Firestar, she was like in a bar.
Did you read the fucking book? Sorry. You know what I'm like?
I'm just going off what I saw. I was rifling through the pages while you were talking.
But like I said, like it's leading into a whole other thing of shit. For all I know, that's a 5-issue series like the Defenders ones. I don't know. I don't have the money or the patience. You keep jizzing out company-wide crossovers all you can, Marvel. Every fucking summer, just big old loads dropping all over the world. Just this is called Executioner's Song. This is called Inferno.
This is called Annihilation.
This is called The Fall of Mutants.
This is called the Civil War.
This is called Civil War 2.
Yeah, this is Secret Wars. This is Secret Wars 2.
This is Secret Wars, but it's a different Secret Wars. It's like Doom
Secret. You can't tell anybody. Top Secret Wars.
You keep doing that. I don't have the money or the patience, so
Time out, Tyler. $1 billion idea, Marvel. Pay us, please. Can we be one of those loads that you're jizzing out? And can we make Top Secret Avengers? And it's like Tony Stark's team, but not West Coast Avengers, but it's just Top Secret Wars. Top Secret Avengers. Can I just say this about comic books?
I had such high hopes for what you were saying, and then just
I'm taking the mic out of the stand. DC, Marvel, Bubbies. Can we, for the love of God, stop calling events of any kind a fucking war? I'm sick of goddamn wars. In real life and in fiction. Because it's so stupid that we got a Secret War, Civil War,
dude,
Green Lantern Corps War.
Hang
I'm
on,
sorry,
hang
I'm
on
popping
a
the
second.
mic.
No,
Green Lantern
too.
Corps War.
But let me
All
give
that
you
shit.
the ultimate bullshit was the Infinity Saga. Okay, first off, let's
Infinity
start.
War.
We start with Infinity Gauntlet, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But by the end of it, it's like, what are we even doing here?
Yeah.
Seriously, by the end of it, it was like, what are we doing?
But seriously, though, everything's a fucking war.
Then it was Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was Infinity Crusade.
Well, even better. More recently, Joker War, the War of Joke and Riddles, and as I already mentioned, the Green Lantern Corps or the Sinestro Corps Wars.
Yeah, you already mentioned that. You can't mention things.
Just call it Sinestro Wars, you fuck.
I don't fucking care anymore, guys.
Point is this:
if you're not gonna write a good comic with a good storyline, the only reason I got it was because it was the one #1 issue that wasn't $7.99.
I get it. It's an easy word to attach something to, and it catches your eye. But
I thought I'd give it a shot.
There's other words for war. Is all I'm saying.
It's an interesting story. It's fine.
Top Secret Wars. Think about it. Top Secret Wars.
Infinity War Crusade Gauntlet.
Gauntlets
War.
Gauntlets of the Infinity Crusade. There you go. So anyway, my long box is Marvel Rivals. We got Marvel.
The War of the Gauntlet Infinity Crusades.
Honestly, if this game would have been called
Sorry,
Marvel Wars
start
instead of
over?
Marvel Rivals.
Can you start over, please? I missed it, and I stepped all
I
over
said
you.
Rivals, you bitch.
I stepped all over you. I want to
So-
make sure you're a long box.
We've been talking a lot. For you being a Marvel show, I will say, we've been reading a lot of DC books. We've been talking a lot about DC.
I don't
So-
want to read any Marvel ongoing.
But this is my point. I want to say we're doing back-to-back Marvel here on a long box. So you got West Coast
Ooh,
Avengers. I
yeah.
am doing Marvel Rivals.
Wow.
And again, if this would have been Marvel Wars, it would have been like not playing that game. Future
Marvel
War.
Crusade.
Wasn't there? No, it's Future Fight. There's a game called Future
There's
War.
there's two games called Marvel Champ. Yeah,
That's not the
Marvel.
point. That's not the point. So anyway,
I'm not playing those fucking games.
Marvel Rivals
Is it on PlayStation?
Yes, it's on everything. So
Well, how come I'm not playing it?
I don't know. I don't know if it's on PS4. I know it's.
Oh, so I've just priced out.
Well, I'm sure it is because if Fortnite.
That's what I call it every night.
This should be the kids' play. Where are we dropping, boys?
Oh.
We're playing Fortnite.
So we gotta save money on the heat. No problem. Get under the blanket, everybody. I'm gonna make a Dutch oven.
All right, so
Sorry, I gambled all the heat money away.
Marvel Rivals is free to play. Yeah, it's on PlayStation, Xbox, PC. It's on everything. I don't know if it's on mobile, but it might. It's an interesting game. So it's what they call a hero shooter, and it's team-based. It's PvP. So a hero shooter is essentially, for those that don't know, it's you pick a character that has certain abilities, and there's also certain classes. So there's like the tank class that they call Vanguard. There's one that's called Duelist, and those are going to be like Spider-Man and like not as big characters, but they have distance.
Tanks are typically really strong, but really fucking slow. And then duelists.
Well, and that's the case with. But
duelists are usually really fast, but they can get killed real easily.
Yes,
but they're fast enough they don't get hit off them.
And the strategists.
Tanks usually take all.
Will you let me do my thing? You always yell
Every
about.
game.
You always get pissy about me stepping on shit.
A tank in a game is the guy that absorbs all the damage.
Yeah, I know. Let me finish.
Sorry, I love you.
And strategist is like a healer in this game. But honestly, most classes can also be heals.
Strategists and
Shut up. But that's how this game works. It's not called tank. It's called the Vanguard. Anyway.
Fuck you.
So yeah, but this is what's impressive about it. The game is free to play. Every character is available. You don't have to pay for any characters. They've also said they will never make any character payable. Every character will be free, but like, it's a free to play game. So you'll pay for battle passes, you'll pay for skins and all that other shit. The game launched with 33 characters, which for a free game is pretty impressive. I would have guessed like 20, but the fact that there's 33 is impressive. Some are a little baffling. Like, I still don't understand the popularity behind Squirrel Girl. Like, she continues to be one of the most popular characters from Marvel, and I don't get it. Maybe there's a series that I haven't read that's amazing. But what's interesting about it is it's very much copies this other game called Overwatch, which Overwatch kind of popularized this kind of game. And this game is unabashedly that, but Marvel characters. And I swear this is true. I had no interest in Overwatch. I played a little bit. It was kind of fun, but it was not something I was going to sink my time into. This has a Marvel IP. These are characters I care about. These are characters I know. And I'm like, okay, now I'm interested. And this game is blowing up. Like, at one point, like because it launched last Friday, and when it launched, it had like 300,000 concurrent viewers or concurrent players on Steam, just on PC. That's just PC. And then like there was I just found out. I think we're recording on Tuesday. I think it was either on Tuesday or Monday. I can't remember, but it's already crossed 10 million players across all platforms. And the reason why is the game is just unabashedly fun. It's just fucking awesome. Like, I hopped in and played for like 2 or 3 hours the other night, and I was just having a blast because I honestly was having this thing where I was looking at Black Friday sales for like shooters because I had this itch to play the multiplayer shooter, and I hadn't done that in a while. And I totally forgot this game was coming out.
Why didn't you just get the thing full of, fireballs, the little shooters?
So anyway.
Shut up.
Shut your mouth. So, I finally got to play it, and then I found out it was free. I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'll try it out. And, yeah, dude, I was just kind of surprised at how easy it was to, like, pick up and understand. And it's one of those games, it's like Rocket League, it's like Fortnite, where it's very much easy to learn, but there's still a good curve to master. Like, I've only leveled 6. You have to get to level 10 before you can play competitive. I don't even know if I will play competitive because I know that shit's going to be sweaty, and I know there's going to be some really good players, and you're going to have to really, really strategize and know what you're doing.
Who's your character?
My main, I've been going back and forth. I kind of dabbled with everybody. I haven't played every character, but Thor is my guy. I love Thor because he's a tank that has a good amount of health, does a good amount of damage, and if you use him properly, can like clear out a whole fucking room like that. And I have a clip of it. I recorded it.
Yeah,
because
you tried to show it to me.
There's 2 modes.
I don't want to see you playing video games.
There's 2 modes. There's one mode that is, it's you one team is delivering a payload to a location, and the other team is trying to stop them from doing it. Yeah. And there was a part where I got the payload to the final stage of the map, the final stage of the level, and we're fighting, and I literally just drop in and I do his super. And Thor's super is he jumps up as high as he can and just fucking hammer drops and just wipes. So wipes the team, like takes 2 or 3 dudes out. And then I do this other move where he just like throws lightning bolts while he's throwing his hammer at you. And then like doing all these common and in this moment I am just fucking wrecking people as Thor. And it's just like, it does a great job for certain characters. I wouldn't say all, because again, I haven't played as all of them, but Thor was one of the characters that I don't know what it is, but it just clicked in my head. I just understood that character, understood how to play him. And I wanted that because he's mostly melee. And my buddy was watching me play, and he's so simple, and that's why I love him, because I just fucking swing in my hammer. And I told him, I don't need much for this game. I'm a simple man. I'm a caveman. Hammer, smash, hammer, break things. Yeah. But
you like that motion?
There's so much love and care put into this game too. Like each character has so much to them. There's so much production value to each character. I love its art style. It's this really cool comic book kind of style to it, but still modern. I think it looks great. I think it plays incredibly fun. I didn't have a single crash. It was almost instant getting into lobbies. Like I didn't have any wait time. We played Team Deathmatch too, because there's only like 2 modes right now. Team Deathmatch was fucking incredibly fun. I'm a little pissed because it took me Venom is a learning curve, and I still haven't mastered Venom or understood Venom, how he works, and he's frustrating. Thor, I get. Spider-Man is a lot of fun, but the problem with Spider-Man, he's too fucking fast. So a lot of these characters, the movement kind of sucks. I will say that. I understand like Thor and Venom being a little bit slower, but I feel like every character just doesn't move as fast as I'd like them to normally. But they all have like a movement ability. So like, yeah, Venom, if you hit L1 on PlayStation, if you hit L1, you'll swing, and Spider-Man will do the same thing. But yeah, Spider-Man is so goddamn fast on that upswing. I'm like, Jesus! And I just like fly up the air because I don't know how to play him yet. Wolverine's good too, and Wolverine incredibly fast when you're slicing. It's crazy, but I could talk forever about it. But I really like.
I know.
Oh Jesus! Shut up.
I talked forever about a fucking comic book in the 80s.
You don't even like. No. It is scratching an itch for me right now, and it's that
I'm scratching an itch.
It is a thing of like
on my back,
hopping in, having some fun, hopping out, and I can tell you right now, I am so annoyed at Warner Brothers for many things. But I watch something like Marvel Rivals, and I see this game get to 10 million players in a few days. I see all these people react to it. Everybody's talking about this game. Like, this game is a big deal right now. And who knows what will happen in a month or so from now. But I'm seeing that, and I'm like, DC, you just launched a new fucking TV show. Wouldn't it have been a cool idea to have something like that or do something with that? It's like, and it's like hero shooters make the most sense to have this kind of a game too. It's literally in the name, hero shooter. So it's almost like a perfect combination of these two things. So I love it. It's been great. For me, who knows what will happen in a month? That'll be the real test. It's probably going to be the game I play the most over Christmas. So I'm looking forward to that.
I'm excited for you.
Me too. And now, from our new podcast, Live from Hell. No, we have a broadcast from Satan.
Yeah.
That we are required to play.
Okay, so I had a dentist appointment the other day, and long story short, while they were drilling one of my teeth, the building got hit by lightning. I got home, and I went to record something into my voice recorder, and what came out of my mouth was this.
I know, but are you recording? Yeah, I'm fucking recording. You don't know what's in that salad. Maybe don't eat it just yet. What are you, like, the vocal personification of indigestion? Don't eat that. It's your stomach. Before you eat that bacon cheeseburger, make sure you remember you had barbecue chips for lunch. Oh, well. Maybe take a Tums. Okay. That was good. Fucking A. Listen to your heart. Hey, listen to your heart after I rip it out of your chest. Boom, 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 boom. I'm a fucking demon. What did you expect? What did you want from me? I'm a fucking demon. This is our podcast, Live from Hell. Live from Hell. The only place where you can get half off all Crocs. In hell? Mm-hmm. I feel like there's a caveat because you know how this place is. A shitty fucking person to get here. Well, so I'm saying like the Crocs would have spikes in them because it's the opposite of comfort. No, they're just regular Crocs. Well, fuck, man. What's Lucy doing up there? Here's the twist. Nobody has any money in hell, so it doesn't matter if they're on sale or not. Fuck you. Keep tricking them with fake sales. Hey, look, Crocs are on sale. How do I get money? And you fucking don't. Go back to shoveling hot coals up your ass. And then, like you're supposed to here in hell. Everything is on sale for $6.66. So they should know it's a fucking bit.
Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.